Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our show. It's called Tournament Horse Racing. My name is Rich Sharp. I'll be your host for tonight's event. Here's what we've done. We've taken the horse racing calendar. We've actually broken it up into four separate horse racing tournaments throughout the year. Each one of those tournaments is going to consist of 10 individual racing days, and that's actually what you're going to watch tonight. Those individual racing days consist of four races, and what we do is each of our horse players is going to make a mythical $2 win place bet in each one of those four races. Simply put, whoever wins the most money wins that day's tournament. We keep track of the amount of money that you win over those 10 tournaments. Whoever wins the most money over the 10 tournaments wins that tournament. Again, we've got four tournaments throughout the year. We'll even keep track, and we have a year-end champion as well. Well, that's how it works. Again, my name is Rich Sharp. I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to our players in no particular order. I'm going to start all the way over on the East Coast. He lives in Staten Island, New York. He's a good friend of mine, in addition to a longtime horse player, Ray Torado. How's life treating you down there in the basement?
Good, good. It's been a good week.
Been a good
Been
week?
hot. Yeah, it's been hot and a lot of pool action. So, been enjoying the summer.
Yeah, I enjoying the summer. We'll get to the weather in just a few minutes here and like that. I'm going to turn around. I'm just going to go to a little bit to the south of me, and he's in Temecula, California. He's going to be horse player number two tonight. He's also a good friend of mine, and again, another longtime horse player, Joe Torada or Joe English. Excuse me. How are you? How's it going?
I'm good. I know Ray's my brother, but not like
Yeah, I was
family.
going to say, sometimes I have trouble even keeping the two of you straight as far as I'm concerned. And things like that. Joe,
I'm
really,
gonna.
how how was your day? Seriously.
How was my day? I went to
Yeah.
Del Mar and it was expensive.
It was
Parking,
expensive.
if you haven't been there this week, parking is $20. So I suggest
Mm.
like three or four, you get in the car and go in ways or three ways, however you decide to do it. But had lunch at the Brigantine, had fish tacos, which were excellent, and a nice blue moon to go along with it. So it was a pretty good day.
Nice little Friday
Didn't do
there.
well at the windows, but
Happy Friday.
Yeah. All right. And our final
Friday
horse
was.
player, and he lives just a little bit to the north of me. He is also a good friend of mine and another more recent horse player, but still getting his chops in now after a few years here with us on the show. Steve Newsom. How's life been treating you, my friend?
Oh, not too bad. Just trying to stay cool and focusing on teaching my kids how to drive a little bit. So
Whoa.
I
Wow.
got two more. So be careful out there,
Oh,
Mm.
Lord have mercy.
Joe. You
God
know.
go with you,
And-
Steve.
Same boat, Steve. My son's just
Same
turned
here, yeah.
16. So.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So before we tune in and start taking a look at what happened last week and get into this week's exciting card, we're actually playing two different racetracks today. Just a little bit of a disclaimer here that Joe and Ray and Steve, myself, are horse players. We actually love the game of horse racing. We get together on a weekly basis to discuss the ponies. We are by no means selling our picks. We don't endorse them. We just get together because we're horse players and we enjoy the game of horse racing. We really hope that you do too. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and jump into it. Let me go ahead and start sharing my screen here, and we'll
I
take a
know the
look at.
result.
Yeah, I
You
know.
talked him right.
This one's really painful. Actually, I was just gonna stick with the forms that we have. Let me go ahead and make sure that I've got Saratoga loaded up here first. But unfortunately, I'll let people know, what we did last week. And again, we get together on a weekly basis. Again, each of these tournaments consists of, well, just about
Oh,
Oh, man.
10 individual
oh,
horses.
wow.
Yeah,
That's
feedback.
that's
I
horrible.
I don't have any confetti, but Joe, congratulations. Woo!
The only thing that confetti rich was the racing portion last week. That's
Yeah,
really
yeah, exactly. And our picks actually went into that same pile as a big stack of
no
recyclables.
kidding.
So,
Wow.
all righty. Let's not look at that. Let's not really dwell on that. Let's get back to and
Yeah.
I'm sorry. In deference to the racetrack that we were playing, that was Monmouth Racetrack, and that was the Haskell Stakes, which actually turned out to be a very very exciting race card. But what wasn't so exciting if you follow our picks. And as you can see, we've paid for it so far. So there's the year-end totals. Joe is still in first. Ray's not too far behind him, and then me and Steve are competing for the bottom right now at this point in time. And Joe's got two victories, and Ray's got one on the season. And again, that'll come into play. The only reason for the wins, for those who asked, and I saw somebody who did ask last week, is in the form of a tiebreaker. So if by any chance the money comes in, and just so you know, we have had a couple of tournaments that have been decided by as little as 10 cents. So a tiebreaker is certainly possible even after a 10 race tournament. All right. I mentioned it this week. We are going to be, you're going to see a lot of eights and a lot of tens, and we will delineate them by the eights with the S's after them are Saratoga, and the eights with the 10 are Del Mar, or the DM, excuse me, are Del Mar. And so we're playing races 8 and 10 at both of those fabulous seaside racetracks. We are going to start with Saratoga. And the post time tomorrow for Saratoga, that's 8:39 Eastern time out there in Ray's neck of the woods, and it is 5:39 out here on the Pacific coast. So a little bit of a late start time. Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong one. It did. I swear to God, I clicked on Saratoga, and I went to the wrong one. I'm sorry. Uh, Race number 8 here is starting at 4:26 on the East Coast and 1:26 Pacific time. So that's the Alfred G. Vanderbilt Stakes. Before I go too far into the race card, which again is a beautiful Saratoga Springs, Saratoga racetrack up there, Stephen, did you want to let us know what's the weather like up there in New York going to be like tomorrow?
Yeah, well, I was looking that up, and they get a cold front moving through. It should be through tomorrow evening, but beforehand, you're looking at 80% chance of rain showers, thunderstorms, quarter to half inch accumulation of precip possible, and also heavier rain showers and possible hail and severe thunderstorms. So should be a
Sounds,
nice day.
sounds lovely.
81 degrees, beautiful.
Yeah, sounds lovely. Okay, and before we go off here, I will also let you know that our partners that we use here, that you see on this television show, we use the Brisnet form, and that is available at brisnet.com. As you see there, it's called the Handicapper's Edge. If you by chance use a website like say twinspires.com, I happen to know that Ray and myself, I think Steve, I think he might even use it. Joe, I can't remember if Joe uses it well, but we have all used it at one point in time. You will actually get this form for free. All you have to do is go ahead and place a single bet, one single bet at that particular racetrack on the day that you go ahead and sign up for. So we do use those Brisnet forms. And starting with race number 8, that's the first race in our 4-race sequence. Again, we're splitting it back and forth across the country. So we're starting off in Saratoga, races 8 and 10. We're going to come over to race to Del Mar. Turns out that's also races 8 and 10. Race number 8 at Saratoga. They are going 6 furlongs on the main track. It is the Alfred G. Vanderbilt Handicap. It's a grade 1. The purse is $350,000. It's a handicap for 3-year-olds and upward. And your morning line favorite is in post number 4. We've seen him before on this show. Elite Power, trained by Bill Mott and ridden by Irad Ortiz. 4 to 5 on the Saratoga morning line. And just to make sure I've got the order here, we're going to start off with Ray because we're in New York, so we're in your backyard. But we're going to go to the right. So we're going to go from Ray to Steve to me. I'll hand the baton off to Joe, and that's how we'll go so far. Ray, who do you like in the Vanderbilt?
Yeah, so a nice little 7-horse field here. Could cut down, could depending on the weather. Some trainers might scratch, but I don't know. I see this as a 2-horse race basically. Nothing really excite me, but I'm gonna go with the second choice, 5 Good Night. Try and beat the favorite. I just think that Good Night might have a small tactical advantage than Elite Power, and the Saratoga is usually better to be closer to a lead than where Elite Power might be. So I'll go Good Night. I think he might get first run, and hopefully he can hold him off. He's gonna be fresh, coming off a layoff. They did race before, way over there
Yeah.
in the land of what
Kingdom of,
was that?
the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Over there, way over there, yep. And Elite Power got him, but Saratoga usually has tighter turns, so I think he might be a little more forwardly placed and might get the first jump and let Elite Power try and catch him. So I'll go good night. 8 to 5. That's probably gonna be what you're gonna get. 6 to 5, something like that. So kind of a chalky race for me. So, but still, if we could win, still get some money anyway. So good night for me. Is that Joe?
You're going to your
I
right, so you're Steve.
think it's
Oh,
me.
Steve. Sorry, Steve.
Oh, that's all right. Let's see. I'm gonna go with the 6. Dean delivers. Horses won its last 2 races. Jockey trainer combinations won 3 times, 33%. Or no, I'm sorry, won once out of 3
Yeah,
times, 33%.
yeah. But that's a
Too many threes for me. Anyway,
that's a successful Gulfstream combination.
uh, the horse is 2-3. It's got 2 wins at the distance and also a couple of wins on an off track. So, yeah, I'm going to try to beat the favorites here and maybe get a little bit of price with Dean delivers at 8-1. Rich?
I saw it the same way that Ray did. I think this is a 2-horse race. I think this is almost setting up like a match race, but these two, they have faced each other before. So I actually am on Gunite as well. I did select the same race horse that Ray did. Steve Asmussen, Tyler Gaffleone, they hit together at 29%. That's a very successful combination. And I just didn't see that the other horses that were in this race necessarily had a chance of upsetting the apple cart between these particular 2 horses. And so I did like that. I probably would have leaned a little bit more towards Elite Power, but I have a feeling he's going to go off just about as short as what we see there. And was looking for just a little bit of a better price. And I thought that race that was over there in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, this one down here that happened earlier this year, the King Abdul Racecourse, it was actually a very, very good race. They both went at it just like I expect them to today. It turned out Elite Power was just the better horse. Yep.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, I really don't have that much to add. I'm also on Gunite. Um, like Ray said, he might have a little bit of a tactical advantage. It's funny though, the Buyer speed figure. I mean, Rich mentioned that you guys use Brisnet. I use Buyer. I use the racing form in conjunction with the Brisnet. There are certain things about Brisnet that I like, especially the back page where it shows history and what's happened in this type of race before. So I was using that. But as far as speed figures, Buyer speed figures, Gunite speed figure in the Aristides at Churchill was 108, which is better than anything Elite Power has run. So the fact that he's got 2 wins over a wet track doesn't hurt. Probably will have well, I shouldn't say probably. He might have some kind of tactical advantage. Irad is one of the best jockeys in the world, if not the best jockey in the world. So he might negate some of that. But I really didn't want to take 4 to 5. I was kind of hoping I might get 2-1 on Gunite, and maybe you will because Irad takes money. He always does. So even 4 to 5, you might see even a lower price than that. 8, 9 to 5 is probably about what I expect ultimately. But yeah, like I said, not a lot to wet the whistle. I do kind of like Dean delivers a little bit, and if he can get loose, he's dangerous for sure. Misael Jaramillo is a good gate jockey, and he
Yeah,
will definitely
absolutely.
get.
It's fantastic at that. Yeah.
Will probably be on the lead. The question is, will he be good enough to hold off both Gunite and Elite Power? And we'll see tomorrow. And again, the wet track may have something to do with that too, depending on how it shakes out. But I'm on Gunite ultimately. No, this wasn't a ploy to block anybody. It's early to try.
Oh no! Oh no! It's a little early for that.
A little early for that. So I just decided, you know what? I think he may even be the best horse at the moment. And if that's the case, and I'm getting him at second choice, I'm going to take that.
All right, we got our picks in there for the first leg. Leg number 2 is race number 10 at Saratoga. So we have skipped from race 8 to race 10. For anybody who's following along at home, they're going 1.125 on the main track. This is the Jim Dandy Stakes, presented by DK Horse. Grade 2, $500,000 purse for 3-year-olds only. Your morning line favorite, well, you should be familiar with him by now. His name's Forte, trained by Todd Pletcher, ridden by Irad Ortiz, and the former favorite for the Kentucky Derby this year is 7-5 on the Saratoga morning line. And Steve, you're going to kick us off.
Yeah, man. I can't get off of Forte here. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Forte. Even though he didn't pull it off that last race at Belmont, I think he showed really well uh coming off that long layoff for not running the Kentucky Derby. And I think hopefully he can improve off of that and Irad and Todd Fletcher have him ready. So I'm going to go with the favorite here, Forte, 7-5.
All right. I am not going to go with the favorite here. I'm going to go with what would probably be the second choice. Another horse that we saw quite a bit earlier this year. So we saw him because we covered the Risen Star as part of our tournaments, and we also covered the Arkansas Derby as part of our tournaments, and we also covered the Kentucky Derby as part of our tournaments. And sure enough, in the Belmont Stakes, so Angel of Empire is getting to be one of those horses who was like, oh, you guys again. He did win those first two. So he won the Risen Star Stakes, which was a nice race. There was 14 horses that were in that one. I thought he actually ran probably his best race that day, and then came right back out of that. He wins the Arkansas Derby by 4 1/4. That's a pretty nice race. Reincarnate was in there, and then he came out and he finished third at the Kentucky Derby, where Mage won that particular race. Wasn't particularly flattered by Mage last week. Mage did finish second at the Haskell, I believe, but um, uh, came out of that and then finishes fourth at the Belmont Stakes. Again, maybe a mile and a half, not necessarily what he's looking for. So, back to a more normal distance for him today. He's more in form, I guess I would say, than necessarily Forte is. He gets Flavian Pratt and Brad Cox. And although they don't show as a magical combination, in my opinion, you just put those two together, you're working with all-star talent. So in this particular case, I'm on number 5, Angel of Empire. And I'm going to hand off to Joe.
Okay. Oh, goody. You guys left me alone. I'm not taking any of the three. Give me the horse on the rail. Give me number 1, Disarm.
All right.
You saw last time he
New shooter.
won the Met win in the slop, going a mile and an eighth at Churchill. He did not run a bad fourth Kentucky Derby despite being light on experience. He only got beat 3 lengths by Angel of Empire. And maybe that was a little further than he wanted to go. But it's funny. We saw this in the Haskell last week, and we've seen it in all the Triple Crown races. It doesn't seem like anybody can win 2 of these. Everybody seems to be able to win 1, but these horses just keep taking turns beating each other. And I'm just thinking he's got the rail. He's got the, if he gets the sloppy track, I just think it's his turn because again, nobody's really been able to step up and win more than one of these big races. I mean, we saw the Triple Crown, we saw the Haskell, and even in a lot of the Derby preps, it was one and done. Nobody really put more than one win together except for maybe Forte. So if you're going to give me 6-1 with Steve Asmussen, him and Rosario obviously are hot lately, 33%. 15 races, small sample size, but still pretty good. He won his only start at Saratoga. He's won his only start in the mud. And I'm going to get him as the 4th, maybe 5th choice. Who knows? So I'll take Disarm. Give me Rosario, Asmus, and Disarm at 6-1. Right?
Yeah, this is a very tough race. 5 horses, 3 of them trained by Brad Cox. Um, I'm gonna go out there and take a shot. I'm gonna go with Hit Show. Like you said, these horses just take turns beating each other, and you had a strong Withers at the distance, a strong Wood Memorial who got beat by an 80-1 shot. I mean, he was a favorite. 5th in the Derby, and all these horses around here were close to the Derby. You got Mage and Angel of Empire, and who finished fourth over there? Disarm finished fourth. So, they're basically all in this race except for Mage and two Phils. So I'll go with Hit Show. Maybe, Price here. Well, I have respect for fourth in the Belmont. They've been running the same races, and maybe it's his turn too. So Forte adding blinkers. That's could work, may not work. You don't know. I don't know they're doing it now, except for the Travers. I know, Forte wants to win the race because the connection because in order to be champion you gotta win races. Not prep here, prep there, and win one big one. They want to win all the races, so they're gonna go full force. But I'll take a shot with Hit Show. He's the bigger price. And, this is what happens. This big races, and it's the new one who appears at the big price. So I'll take 6-1, maybe more.
Right. I mean, and it's funny you talk about it. There was somebody posted a stat on Twitter about Fletcher adding blinkers, and he's like 1 for 23 or something, adding blinkers with dirt routers or something of late. So it's not something they generally do, or he's very successful. I mean, it doesn't mean it won't work. Maybe it will tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe
Yeah.
Forte wins by 6, and we'll regret not taking it. But
Hmm.
who knows?
Okay, let's go ahead and we are going to go ahead and we're going to swing like 3,000 miles across the country from Saratoga Springs, New York, to Del Mar, California. Joe, would you like to give us an update on what they could probably expect for the weather down there in San Diego tomorrow?
I can give you an update because I was there not long ago. Let's just say it's very nice, sunny. Today there was a nice little breeze off the ocean, so I don't expect the inclement weather from Saratoga at Del Mar tomorrow.
All right, race number 8. So again, we're going to do race number 8 and race number 10 from Del Mar. They're going a mile and a 16th on the main track. This is the San Diego handicap. It's a grade 2. The purse is $300,000 for 3-year-olds and upward. And your morning line favorite is in post number 6, and that is Defunded. He is trained by Bob Baffert. He is ridden by Juan Hernandez, and he is 8-5 on the Del Mar morning line. And that means that we are up to, you know what, I get to go first. It's funny. I make the schedule out, and yet sometimes I even split my picks, even expecting to go with they have a similar pick to one of somebody else. But I get to go first here. I'm going to stick right there on the rail with Doug O'Neill and Mario Gutierrez. Slow down, Andy is a 4-year-old in this race. You're going to see there's a lot of 7-year-olds. There's a few horses who are a little bit longer in the tooth and like that. He's one of the 4-year-olds that's in this race. Once upon a time, he actually was a part of the Derby Trail, I believe it was back in 2022, and comes off of there. And so this year, after having his break after the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, where he finished third to Cody's Wish, and as we all know, nobody was going to beat Cody's Wish that day, and Cyberknife is the horse who finished second. So that's over here, highlighting the Breeders' Cup for you guys. And then, whoops, anyway, highlighter back on. The Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile is right here, and those are the horses down there with Cody's Wish and Cyberknife. And then he took his break. He took about 6-7 months off there, and came back. They tried him in the Met Mile. That's the stallion race there in New York. It's on now. They have it on Belmont Stakes Day, and he came up a little bit short, as you see there. He was in the race early, and then not so much late. So now he comes back to familiar ground. He's in California again, which is kind of where he belongs. He's back among friends, and I thought he might have the best chance to upset the apple cart and take down Baffert's horse. So I went with the 1. Slow down, Andy. Go ahead, Jeff.
I will say, let me first say that yes, he's 8-5 on the morning line, but I posted, and the guys know that Paroli, who was the second choice, 3-1, scratched, so he will not be running, and nobody will pick him. Right, guys? Nobody will pick him. So
Who's
8-5 is a pipe dream. There is no chance you're getting 8-5 unfunded. If somebody wants to give you 8-5, bet it now, because if you wait for the pari-mutuels to happen, forget it. That first number isn't going to be an 8, probably be about half that, maybe even less. I'm thinking he's either going to be 3 or 4-5, and maybe even 4-5 might be asking a bit much. And I hate having to do it, but he's the best horse. He's going to be on the lead. Somebody's going to have to come and take it from him. Baffert obviously points for this meet. I know my biggest concern is that this is a prep race. Race he really wants to win is September 3rd, Pacific Classic at 1.25 miles. But he's obviously already a Grade 1 winner at 1.25 miles. Finished second in the Pacific Classic last year. I'm sorry, the Pegasus World Cup earlier this year to Art Collector. I just think he's better than everybody at this moment. He's got a tactical advantage that he's going to flaunt. I'm not going to bet against Juan Hernandez, and unfortunately, I have to say it. I'm not going to bet against Bob Baffert. Not in this spot. So I'll take the short price. I'll take what appears to be easy money. Give me defunded. Ray.
Who you saying scratched?
Paroli.
He's not. We got the.
Oh, Tripoli?
Paroli. 8.
Oh, Paroli? Oh,
Yeah, by the
okay,
time,
yeah.
I think by the time,
He
yeah, I
was
think
on
by
here.
Oh, they're off the form.
yeah,
Okay, I see. Okay,
yeah.
I got you.
By the
Okay,
time we pulled this, he had scratched.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. All right. Well, I go half of that. So, I'm on the 4, Mr. Cut, the familiar my bowling tournament,
Oh,
Mr. Cut. Um, Interesting horse. I mean, been running a turf last year and brought him here to the States and had a little prep race or allowance race and did pretty well. Coming second, so Salah just I guess he got this horse. He wants to try him on dirt and run him on dirt here. And distance for me is no issue. Just a matter of how good he is. Been running in Great Britain, France, and the Group Twos and stuff. So on the turf, looks like he showed some speed there. So look at those races. It says prominent. When you win by 11, win by 5, win by 4, I mean you have some speed going late. So um, who knows? Maybe this horse can challenge defunded and take care of him top of stretch, and but you never knows. But I guess he'll give him a race, and 5-1, probably be lower because of the other horse. So, but Hector Barrow's having a good meet so far, and I've heard that name last week and the weekend while I was watching. So he's been riding well. So I'll take a shot with Mr. Cut number 4. Maybe give the fun of the race. Steve.
All right. Again, I'm going to go off the reservation a little bit. I'm going to go with the 7. Senior Buscador, 12-1. Giovanni Franco on board. Todd Fincher's a trainer. He's 46 to 90 days away. He's 20%. So whatever. Any positive stat, right?
Yeah, no, that's a fairly big sample size, right? That's
Yeah,
like
210.
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, that's 40 times he's gotten winners out of that.
Right. But I don't know. I think maybe it looks like there's a couple of horses that may try to challenge for the lead. So maybe they'll get out in front a little bit, and Senior Buscador can close in on them at the end. So I don't know. I'm going to go with the 7 here and get a bit of a price.
Whoops. What did I do here? He just fixed this very quickly, so I'm not.
Last two should be D. Del Mar, right?
Oh, Del Mar. I'm sorry.
Want to make sure that
Yeah.
anybody checks in later and sees it.
And then 6,
Sunday's race in
5,
Saratoga.
3, 4, 6, 2, 7, 5, 5, 1. All right. That should be correct. And let's get back to the racing forms here. Senior Buscador. And excuse me. Sorry for the scrolling there, folks. We've got one more race. We're skipping ahead again. So we had race number 8 there at Del Mar, and now we're on to race number 10. This will be the final race for this tonight's tournament. This is race number 10, going 6 furlongs on the main track. It is the Bing Crosby Stakes. Grade 1, purse is $400,000 for 3-year-olds and upward. And your morning line favorite is in post number 11. They named him Dr. Shivel. We all know him as Mr. Freeze. Trained by Mark Platt, written by Juan Hernandez, and he's 7-2 on the Del Mar morning line. Joe, you're going to kick us off here in the finale.
The most difficult race day, without question. It, you see by the 7-2 favorite, but they're like 3 or 4 horses that are 4-1 on the morning line, so it's not an easy race. And you know, if you're playing multi race wagers, you better either single and have an opinion and go with it, or you know, you're gonna have to go 6, 7, 8 deep in this race, and you may still not be. You still may not feel confident, you know, going into the race. I would not bet any money on this race myself because my choice is tepid, very very tepid. I'm with the 7 anarchist, and it's more just I think the 12 gonna go out to the lead. There are gonna be horses. There are gonna be other horses up close. They don't have to be on the lead, but there's a lot of horses that have some speed, and he's one of them. But I think based on that last effort in a couple of races, he looks like he could be maybe a length 2, maybe 3 off the lead, and he's gonna be on the outside, so he should get a relatively clean trip. Doug O'Neill's off to a very hot start at the meet, and Ramon Vasquez, if I remember right, might have had a win, 1,000% short. But this is a horse who's actually run well on the West Coast, finished behind Spirit of McKenna, so he's not what Rich usually is, more against horses that coming east to coming west to run in sprints from the east. He's been here before. He just happened to go and run into Elite Power in the True North at Belmont on Belmont Day. So obviously, if Elite Power wins, that would flatter this performance that he had in the Belmont as well. Again, maybe and he finished second 6 times. So if he finishes second in this race, I'm not going to object. I'll take the money for the second place finish. But like I said, I think he's going to be off the pace, and I think there's going to be enough pace to set it up for him if he's good enough. Like I said, he's been out here. He's run out on the West Coast before. So I'll take a shot with Anarchist. Very, like I said, very tepid pick. You could go a lot of different directions. Sure, I'd be very surprised if my 3 cohorts don't take 3 different horses. So give me the 7, right? It's on you.
Oh, sorry. I'm on the same horse.
Oh, jeez.
Anarchist. Yeah, you're right. He ran, pretty well in the True North, and he has run on the West Coast before and ran pretty well. So, coming back to that, little harder track, he'll probably be in the picture, and he'll probably be a decent price. And you like Santa Anita. I mean, I'm sorry, Del Mar. No, never raced there. But the West Coast tracks tend to be a little more tighter, and he's gonna be like you said, second, third. So he'll be in the race and to see how that trip back has affected him. He did win in Woodbine on a synthetic at a good time, so he's in good form. 6 races this year, 6 times in the exacta. So hopefully he'll be in the race and down the stretch. So like you said, first or second we get money. So I'll take Angus for me. Steve?
I actually that was the 7 was my first choice, but screw you guys, I ain't doing that again. I went behind you. So I'm going to go with the 4 here, the Chosen Brawn. Hector Barrios on board. Eric Kruljack. I'm not familiar with the trainer, but they've hooked
You
up
got
a
the
few
name right.
times. 17%. What's that?
You got the name right.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
cool, Jack.
okay.
Rule Jack, that's
But
it.
this horse has won. It's like what last 7 races or so. So knows how to get in the winner's circle. Has some nice
He's a win
workouts.
machine, period. Yeah, 12 for
Yeah.
16 lifetime.
And going back to it went back to dirt last. Did a turf race in between some dirt races there. And, looks like the horse likes most surfaces. Probably prefers dirt. Has a little bit better speed figures on dirt. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chosen Brawn here.
Chosen Brawn.
4.
All right, and we do have a little bit of diversity, at least in this race, because I am on Spirit of Machina, or McKenna. And this is trained by George Papadromu and ridden by Jersey Joe. The horse has he's on a little bit of a layoff, but as you see there, he's also a little bit of a lifetime win machine. Won 4 out of 5 in his lifetime. Does have a win over here at the win in a second here at Del Mar, and does have a win at this distance. Has won his last 3 races in a row, and kind of stepped up. So went from the optional claiming ranks for non-winners of 1, and then goes right into the San Carlos, which is one of the sprint races for older horses. It's a little bit earlier in the card at Santa Anita, and then also into the Triple Bend, which is one of the sprint races for older horses later in the card at Santa Anita. He won them both, and he's got a win over CZ's Rocket. He's actually beaten Anarchist as well. Appears to be a tough horse there at a Ghost Zapper, and he's just a 5-year-old. So I went with Spirit of, I guess, probably McKenna. Let's fill these in. Sure. All right, you guys, and just take a peek at your entries there. Make sure I got everything correctly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to go ahead. I'll stop sharing my screen, and we'll come back, close this one up. That's how we do it here on Tournament Horse Racing, folks. We just kind of put those picks in. If there's any scratches tomorrow, Steve, Ray, Joe, and myself, we just keep in contact via text, and we do talk to each other throughout the day as the races are going on anyway. So, Ray, Steve, Joe, anybody got anything they want to add before we wrap this one up for the night?
No,
Oh,
When I pulled out the
Lucky.
form, I saw in race number 1 the first horse, Heartland, a horse that cost $575,000 out of Justified, trained by Bob Baffert. What do you think his odds going to be? 2-year-old going 5.5 furlongs.
Bob's,
1 to 5, we think.
Bob's
Juan
looking for,
Hernandez,
he's looking
working
for a
out
big day tomorrow.
46 and 2.
Oh, jeez.
Pick 5, you have a single.
Wow.
Joe, the pick 5, you can have a single in first race. Number 1. Don't look any further.
don't worry about it.
Okay. Well, on that note, folks, if let's go ahead and we'll wrap this one up. Folks, for Ray Torado and for Joe English and Steve Newsom, my name is Rich Sharp. Show's called Tournament Horse Racing. We will see you all next week. Good night and good luck.
Good night, guys.
Good night. Enjoy the 2 beautiful